it'd be priced competitively because hopefully it might be another public garage, not necessarily a private development. Next to the parking garage, we have a park. The park's about 1.6 acres. One of the main reasons we decided to put this here is because we believe, and in consultation with city officials, one of the things we need to work on to increase livability is walkability. We think really good downtowns in urban areas, you can walk from one place to another, and it's very easy, it's safe, and it's a really pleasant experience. Boise, some parts of Boise, especially downtown, are pretty good at this right now. But as a whole, it's not always like that. Especially as it was designed originally, downtown Boise is very automotive focused. It's made for cars. It's not necessarily made for people. Especially in this area where we have Front and Myrtle, as we said. Those are truly, in some cases, dangerous places to cross as a pedestrian. That's why we have these pedestrian bridges. They run north-south and over 11th Street. We feel like the pedestrian bridges would make an easy way to cross these large, dangerous streets of Front and Myrtle, especially at high traffic times. The pedestrian bridges have been implemented in other areas, and we feel like the northwest area of Boise, which is a more residential area, northwest area downtown, those residents wanting to cross maybe to the river or the Boise State campus would then actually be able to walk instead of having to deal with crossing at an intersection or having to take the bus or something. But we feel like this would also set up a precedent for the rest of Boise. If it was successful here, more pedestrian bridges might be able to be implemented in the rest of downtown. Considering right now we don't want to totally revise our road structure because it's now automobile focused, but we also want to make it more walkable, this might be a fairly practical solution to meet both ends. As far as funding is concerned, this is obviously it's a fairly intense project, but we feel like it is fundable. Our estimates would show this would be somewhere in the range between the Bodo project by Mark Rivers and the proposed JUMP project by Simplot in the same area, which the JUMP project was funded at $150 million proposed, and Bodo cost around $60 million. We figured that around $91 to $100 million might be sufficient funding for this. There's a lot of different places we could get this funding. As you can see, we have a combination of public and private efforts. Things like the garages and the pedestrian bridges and the park could be funded by agencies such as the City of Boise or the Capital City Development Corporation. CCDC especially does a lot with the parking garages, and they could theoretically, under their umbrella of authority, enact pedestrian bridges because it falls under transportation and increasing street issues. We also think an interesting thing to do with the pedestrian bridges would be bricks, personalized the donation style. They did this at the Boise Center on the Grove Plaza. It worked very effectively there. They raised quite a bit of money. Private donations are a big part of any nonprofit organization like this museum would be, whether those are from large companies like Hewlett-Packard, Microsoft, Simplot. But we also think that Boise State, since it would have some classroom space and lab space, could perhaps donate some funding. We believe the developer would have to do the private, strictly private stuff. For example, the mall and the restaurants, those would probably have to be funded by the private developer. But we think since this is such an excellent location, and assuming the rest of the public projects actually went through, this would be a very appealing space to any developer. Very good rent possibilities. This city has a Parks and Recreation department, obviously, so they would probably handle the creation of the park. And then finally, revenue from all of these would be able to pay back some of the possible loans or bonds taken out by, say, CCDC or the City of Boise. So obviously, there's a lot of potential revenue out there. There's also a lot of funding that has to be addressed, but we think it's a very feasible project.
And with that, we realize this is a very ambitious project, but we feel that a project of this size is needed to showcase all that Boise could be. this idea is new, it's innovative, we've done our research, and we really feel that it will fulfill the community's need for more arts, more culture, a more educational experience, and to really hone in on that community feeling. And so if we can get all these operations and get all this cooperative feeling, we really feel that it could be a livable city, and in fact the most livable city in the country. Thank you.